Metzelaars was drafted in the 3rd round by the Seattle Seahawks in the 1982 NFL Draft. He was traded to the Buffalo Bills in 1985 and helped them reach 4 Super Bowls from 1990 to 1994. In 1995, Metzelaars signed with the Carolina Panthers and caught the first touchdown pass in Carolina Panthers franchise history. One other mention, he played more games in the NFL as a tight end than anybody else in history, 235. He ended his 16-year tenure in the NFL in 1997 with the Detroit Lions. Pete Metzelaars is currently in his 2nd season as the offensive line coach for the Indianapolis Colts. Yep, good, go Colts. With a Chapel Talk entitled Rambling Thoughts from Half a Lifetime in the NFL, Pete Metzelaars.
Let me grab it like Joe O'Rourke taught me. Gentlemen and ladies, thanks for coming out this morning. It is a pleasure. I think the last time I was up here speaking was shortly after we won the national championship back in 1982. And it was a thrilling time, and had a great time. And I was scared to death to be up in front of everybody speaking then. And I'm a little scared now, but not too much. So hopefully we'll have a great morning. Let me get this off, just so you know, at some point, we're going to have an NFL season this year. I don't know when, but at some point, they'll figure the whole thing out, and they'll get whoever gets what part of $9 billion they get, and then we'll go back to playing football. So they'll get that figured out. Let me, I'm going to start out kind of a quick, to let you know kind of who I played with, some of the guys I played with. Let me say this, when I got to Seattle in 1982, I think they had, I think, 12 or 13 rounds in the draft. Of the guys who were drafted and the other rookies who were on the team in Seattle, I was the only guy who had my degree before I got there, out of everybody else. I would say in a large measure, a lot of that is due to my wife, who is sitting here in the front row. We got married after my sophomore year here at Wabash, and so she ended up being quite a fixture on campus. I think she was in every theater production for our last 2 years here at Wabash and did a great job at it. And I got introduced to the theater because I had to go sit through all the practices and everything else, so that was how I ended up getting exposed to the theater. And I ended up actually during graduation weekend playing a part, a very small part, in one of the theater productions that was going on at the time. But just so you know a little bit about the people I played with. We had a Hall of Fame quarterback who I played with, and this is when I was in Buffalo. I won't mention his name. You should know who he is by now if you're a Wabash man. So anyways, we would pick games every week. We had a thing in the training room, and we'd pick all the games, who would win, and you come down to Monday night, and you'd pick who would win the Monday night game, and then you put a tiebreaker was however many points both teams would score. We picked all the games except our own. So and the trainers had a little file in one of their desk, and they'd pull it out. So we drop it in. You had to have all your picks in by Thursday, and so we went and played our game. And by Monday, generally you kind of forgot who'd I pick and who's in this. And now so you'd always go in and check to see who's in the finals, and who made it in the finals, who got a chance to win their money back this week. So. And at the top of this thing, you put your number or your nickname or whatever it is you would do, Hojo or Woody or number 88 or number 14 or so on and so forth. So this Hall of Fame quarterback comes in one Monday morning to find out if he's in the running for the finals, the Monday night game. And so he comes in, he's going through the things, and shortly after going through the sheets and stuff, everybody's picking, he walks out and he goes, "Hey," he says, "who's this Key guy? He got them all right." Because it said Key at the top of the thing. True story. Who's this Key guy? He got them all right. It's like, brr. Another story. And this is, this is for y'all, this is gonna be a little strange, but we used to have the little portable TVs, the Sony Watchmens, and we used to have them on the plane, and you kind of like, you'd lean the antenna against the side of the plane, hoping it would, maybe you get a picture or whatever. Now they got, you know, the iPads, and you download everything onto it and you watch it, and it's great pictures and stuff. But all we had were the Sony Watchmens, and then shortly after those came out, they came out with a little mini kind of tapes or whatever with a screen, like a 4-inch screen. So that was big stuff, because you could watch movies with a decent picture and stuff. And so we're on a flight one time, and one of the guys had just gotten one of those things, and so he and another guy are sitting there watching a movie, and our Hall of Fame running back comes walking down the aisle, and he sees the picture on the screen, and he goes, "Man," he says, "that's a good picture. Is that cable?" Those were some of the things I dealt with and worked with in my years in the NFL. But there's a lot more stories that are even worse than that, you know. One time a guy walked in, and then I'll go on, move on here. But a guy walks into the training room, and they're having a big discussion. He goes, "Hey," he says, "how's a thermos know whether to keep something hot or to keep it cold?" We told him, "Look for the switch on the bottom. There's one there." So I would be remiss here if I didn't start out, you know, I could do it at the end, but I think I want to do it now and try to limit, you know, but kind of a question answer. I would love to answer some questions. If you have questions, you want to fire away at me. I told you we're going to get they're going to get the collective bargaining agreement done at some point. Right now, everything seems to be swinging into the players' favor, and the owners may end up with the same kind of deal that they just got out of, saying how bad it was, and they might be happy just to have that system put back right into place. So, you know, we shall see as things operate and work through the court. I hope that it lasts at least another couple months so I can get to work on my golf game and not have players come in and get in the way of my golf game. But we shall see. Hopefully, you know, it'll get settled and get settled soon. But any questions, you know, if you want to, kind of stand up and fire away at me, and I would love to do that, and we'll do that for just a few minutes because I got some other things I want to share with you. Oh, wow. I have no idea. I hope we take an offensive lineman in the first round. Now that puts a lot of pressure on me because I better coach the guy up so that he's a good player. But it will depend on, you know, once again, who gets picked before us and who's available when it's pick 22. And this is really something different for us, is be able to pick at 22. It's like, you know, we haven't picked this early, I don't think, in the last 7 or 8 years. So it's a very early pick for us, and we're kind of excited about it. But then you start looking at all the teams before us and who could take what, and you know, so we shall see who falls to us and who's available at that point in time. How many more? Man. Where's that? Fire away.
School like Wabash, then going to, you know, the NFL where you're competing with all Division I athletes. I mean, what was that like?
It was a big transition. It really was. And most of the transition for me, besides the speed of everything and how good everybody was, but it was learning to the stuff that went into it, the studying the playbooks, the watching the film, the learning to read coverages, learning to talk about cover. You know, this is cover 1, this is cover 2. Hey, I think they were playing cover 6, so they were playing cover 4. There was an over front, they did this, and there was an under, and then you know, just all that verbiage and the knowledge that comes with playing in the NFL. It's your job, and it's what you study and what you need to know, and the more you know, the better and easier it is for you to perform. So that was a huge transition. It's just learning all that. Here it was like, hey, just run down there and turn out or block that guy in front of you, and you know, and so that's what I did. And we're going to toss the ball to Daryl Johnson, and he's going to rush for 1,800 yards, and everything will be good, and we'll win a lot of games. So that was the biggest, you know, transition for me, was learning all that stuff and learning, you know, what it was and how to communicate it to coaches, to other players, so that we're on the same page and know what we're trying to get done. The athletic part of it, everybody was big, everybody was fast, and so the transition there was realizing that I could fit in. And a lot of times I was pressing really hard, trying to prove to them that I belonged here, and obviously I did belong there. I ended up playing for 16 years, so really what I need to do is just get out of my own way and go out and play.
Team compare when you're on like an NFL team compared to sort of like on the football team for Wabash?
It's a little bit different. In today's day and age, it's even more different. When I got to Buffalo, we were 2-14. We were the worst team in the NFL, and we went from that to 5 or 6 years later going to a Super Bowl, and then and there was a lot of guys who were on that 2-14 team who were on all those Super Bowl teams. So there was a unique camaraderie among those guys to go from the worst to one of the best. And we were together for, I was there for 10 years. Jim Kelly was there for 9 years. Thurman Thomas was there for 7 years. Bruce Smith was there for all the 10 years I was there. Andre Reed was there for all the 10 years I was there. So, a lot of guys were together for that whole time. And so we had a great group, great camaraderie, great, sense of accomplishment going from the worst team to the best team. It has changed some due to all the free agency, and, it's great for the players because they get to make a lot more money. But it has changed that part. A lot of times they are kind of independent contractors now, and I need to take care of what I need to take care of because I'm trying to get this contract or that contract. I want to get my second contract, and so on and so forth. So it ends up being a little bit more fragmented, unfortunately. But in the end, the good teams are when everybody's working together, everybody says, hey, this is what we're going to do, and everybody's headed in the same direction. And that takes great leadership on your team, great leadership from your coaching staff, and we've been blessed to have that in Indianapolis. We've got a great coaching staff, great leaders with our head coach and the general manager, and then we've got great leadership in our players: Jeff Saturday, Peyton Manning, Gary Brackett, Dwight Freeney. Those guys say this is the way we do things around here. So the new people that come in, you either buy into our system or you're not around here very long. I knew I was going to go to the NFL from here. I think what brought me to Wabash was I got recruited. I didn't get recruited by any Division I kind of schools. I got recruited by some Division II schools, and at least at that point in time for me, their academics were not close to what I was looking for. And Wabash had the academics I was looking for. It had the alumni association contacts and stuff, which are vital as you go out into the job world. I figured I would be here for 4 years, play football and basketball, and then hopefully use the Wabash contacts to go out and get a real job. And I've been blessed in, it's almost 30 years now that I haven't had to go out and get a real job. I've been able to play football and now coach football, and I haven't had to wear suits. This is about as dressed up as I ever get most of the time, and so I've been blessed in that way. But I had the academics, the alumni, the opportunity to play sports. I wanted to play both football and basketball. A big plus was it didn't have spring football, because that was scary. I thought I'd play football and then I was going to play basketball, and then to go right back into spring football I didn't want to do that. I'd much rather play intramural softball and have a good time doing that, and so that's what I did. So all those factors kind of rolled in together, and I kind of told somebody, I said it came down to kind of the story of the three bears. The three final schools. One was Albion College that was close to Kalamazoo, where I grew up, and I was like, that's a little too close. And the other one was Dartmouth. I got accepted to Dartmouth, and that was like, that's too far away. And so Wabash was kind of in the middle and just right. And it worked out just right. I think an ability to communicate, ability to adapt to situations, whatever they are, ability to learn. I came into my job here in Indianapolis as a offensive quality control coach, and there's about 3 different computer programs that needed to be used in order to do the game breakdowns, in order to draw cards for practice, in order to do scripts and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'd never done it before, but so I had to come in and learn, okay, what do I got to do here? How do I, and it was very easy to learn. I think Wabash gives you that foundation to be able to adapt and adjust and to apply your knowledge, your wisdom, your sense into any given situation. That's what I think it's helped me do. But what's that? Oh, faculty? Boy, let's see. Now you're gonna put. No, I'm getting old and a little bit of Alzheimer's. So, but Steve Schmuddy was my academic advisor and my economics professor, and I spent a lot of time with him and had a great time with him. You know, mostly Coach Mac Betty, you know, was back there in the back, now retired Mac Betty, although he's still around a lot. You know, we hung out with, we ended up babysitting for a lot of people around town. The Fishers, we ended up babysitting for over in the theater department and stuff, but Steve Smuddy was really my favorite, and spent a lot of time with him. I don't know if I want to share this one. Here's a story. This is really a good one. I don't think he even knows about it. So we take a trip, my senior year, we take a trip to Texas to play 3 different games. We played 3 Division I teams. Unfortunately, we lost all 3 of the teams, but we were close, and all 3 of the games really came out of it saying, and you know, after we got done on the plane afterwards, Coach says that I came up to him and said, you know, I know I thought this, I don't remember really telling him that, but we lost to 3 Division I teams, very close games, and I came up and said, Coach, you know, and my thought was, if we can almost beat those 3 Division I teams, and we probably should have beaten 2 out of the 3, there's no reason we should lose another game the rest of the year. And eventually that's what happened, is we didn't lose another game the rest of the year. So anyways, here's the story though. We are, I think it's in Texas A&I think, which is in Kingsville, Texas. I think it's there. I don't think it was in San Antonio, Texas. We played another team there. So kind of getting into town a little late. We go out, Coach Petty, we go out to have a snack, you know, a little diner. Okay, we're gonna have a snack. Well, 2 of the guys on the team, for their snack, they order T-bone steaks, which blows Coach Petty's budget out the window. So he's not real happy about that. He's thinking, you know, get a cheeseburger or something like that, and these guys order T-bone steaks. So we get back to the hotel, and everybody kind of get in our rooms, and my parents were there traveling along, going to all the games and stuff, and so about 5 or 6 of us had gone down to my parents' room, and we're in playing euchre and enjoying some Wabash refreshments, you know, which were probably not kosher with Coach Petty being, you know, on a basketball trip. So there's a knock at the door, bam, 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 bam. And one of the freshmen who are there, we're like, hey, go open the door. Luckily for us, he looks through the peephole before he opens the door. And he looks through the peephole and he turns around and goes, it's Mac. So all the beers go under the bed. Boom, boom, boom. Everybody sticks them under the bed, under the covers. We open the door, and he's like, everybody get to their rooms. And, you know, he was upset about the whole thing. And then Mike Holcomb and I, the 2 captains, went and talked to him, and we're like, Coach, we'll get it settled. We'll get it taken care of. You know, don't worry about it. But if that rookie, freshman guy, Paul Havley, if he had not looked through the peephole, who knows what would have happened if Mac had walked into us drinking a beer. So that was a good one. That's Mac. Everybody hid their beers under the bed. So. Favorite Wabash? Well, the one that unfortunately is not a favorite is losing my senior year against DePaul, and I fumbled in the game, and we were 2nd or 3rd in the country at the time, and ended up getting knocked out of the playoffs and not being able to go to the playoffs. And we were a really, really good team, and they were a good team. So that was very disappointing. You know, there's a game in Hope, up at Hope College. I think it was my junior year where I had about an 85-yard touchdown, kind of caught a ball up over the top of somebody and rumbled and bumbled for a number of yards down the field. So those, you know, it's just actually my favorite football memory, how's this, was when we were out practicing football kind of in the fall, and the basketball team was doing their 12-minute runs and their cross-country training, and they did that for about a month without touching a basketball. And I would be coming from football practice and just give all the basketball guys a hard, hey, you guys having fun running? But that was fun, huh? And I always tell them, you know, hey, when you get the basketballs out, I'll show up. Until then, I'm playing football. So, you know, I sit out there football practice watching those guys go. I was like, oh my gosh. Another great story was Jake Kolasek is out here. His dad was our emergency quarterback, because if he got in a game, it was going to be an emergency. That's why he's an emergency quarterback. So we used to practice, and I don't even know if do you guys remember? No, it probably hadn't even been there. Kind of over where the field house is, there was in that corner of where the stadium is and stuff, it was an area called the Triangle. And that's where we used to have our our fall practices before the season got started. We're usually in the Triangle, not down in Mud Hollow. It was in that little Triangle area because it was closer, and I think we had close to a full field. And that's actually where we played intramural softball all the time. So the stands, the home stands that was the home run area where you tried to bomb it onto the stands and over there. So anyways, there's a little triangle, and there's a road that ran through there. Now it's blocked off because of the field house and stuff. But Frank Kolasek is working as a quarterback, and they're throwing little out routes to guys. And he drops back, takes a 5-step drop, and the guy runs a little 10-yard out route, and he throws it, and the ball goes up like that, and it goes over the receiver's head, over a 10-foot chain link fence, over the thing, and lands out in the road that's passing by the thing. And our coach was a very, Stan Parrish at the time, kind of a serious kind of guy, so we're all kind of standing there in amazement that he just threw the ball out over the fence into the road and not sure what to do with it. And finally somebody started laughing, and the whole place just broke out and rolled out. But, you know, watching Frank throw the ball all the way over somebody's head out into a road, it was like, oh my gosh, if he's our backup quarterback, we're in trouble. Give the ball to Daryl Johnson, please. Man, let me share just a little bit. You know, I've had a remarkable, like I said, I've been in the NFL 16 years playing. This is my 8th year coaching, so that's 24 years out of, I'll be 51 here in another month or so. So almost half my life has been messing around playing football, and I began playing football, I think, when I was 10 years old. So I've been doing it for 41 years now, and had a great, blessed life because of it. Had done some fantastic things, met some tremendous people. My kids have met some tremendous people. I've got to meet Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and Phil Mickelson and on and on and on. And then obviously all the people we played with, and all my contemporaries, John Elway and Marino and so on and so forth. It's been a dream come true, really, for some kid from Portage, Michigan. There's been some, like I said, it's been overall, it's been neat, but even in the midst of all that stuff, there's some very difficult, hard things that take place. I went out to Seattle. I remember here going to class and stuff, and the draft is going on, and kind of waiting out and what's going to happen, and hanging around our one room apartment, kind of over on the east side of town, and finally getting a call from Seattle, and the guy said, "Hey, we're going to pick you," and I was like, "Whew, terrific!" And then it was like, "Where's Seattle at?" And this is a year after Mount St. Helens had erupted, so that was like, don't they have volcanoes out there? And I don't know if I want to go out there. So we go out to Seattle, and here I am playing. I go from Wabash to playing in front of 65,000 people out in the King Dome, and they're doing the wave, and that's kind of first took off out in Seattle. And thought I was good. Hey, I'm going to play my whole career here, and so on and so forth. And I'm in the middle of training camp after my 3rd year, and beginning going into my 4th year, and I get a knock on my door, and coach comes in at 7. Actually, here's how it worked. I had a roommate, Bruce Schultz was my roommate. Our phone rings, he picks it up. Hello, okay, yeah. Hangs it up and leaves. So I was like, okay, it must have been for him. I go back to bed for a little while. A few seconds later, comes the knock on the door. It's my position coach. He said, "Hey, we just traded you to Buffalo. Here's a phone number. Give him a call. Good luck." And that was it. So I'm going, what in the world? How am I, so you know, we had just gone 12-4 in Seattle. The previous year had been to the AFC Championship game. The 2 years prior to that had got to the second round of the playoffs that previous year. We had Kurt Warner was our running back. He had been hurt the year before. He's coming back. A lot of people projecting us to have an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. And like I said, Buffalo had gone 2-14 the year before I got there. And actually, I tell people Buffalo was the team you got threatened with. Yeah, if you don't start playing better, we're sending you to Buffalo. I got sent to Buffalo. Thanks. So I try to be and tend to be a very positive, I'm a competitive person, so I'm going to Buffalo. Okay, I can go there, I can prove I can start, I can play, get a chance to play. Hopefully I'll play well and prove to people I belong in the NFL. Still trying to prove to people, you know, even though I'm from, and I used to tell announcers this, the name of the school is not Tiny Wabash College. The name of the school is just Wabash College. Because every time they say it on TV, it's like Pete Metzelaars from Tiny Wabash College. Pete Metzelaars from Tiny Wabash College. And it's like, it's not, it's just Wabash College. So I get to Buffalo, and actually it's, I think I got time. I get there, my first game there is a preseason game. It's the third preseason game, and it is, I get to, it's outdoor in Buffalo, and it's raining buckets. There's like these little exit things for the water to drain out of, coming down out of the stands, and it's shooting about 10 feet out onto the field, coming out of this thing, and I'm sitting there going, what in the world am I doing here? And it got worse as the season went along. So I played for about half the year, then I get benched for the second half of the season. I'm sitting on the bench in November and December in Buffalo. At the beginning of the game, we had about 18,000 people there. Once again, we were 2-14. So there'd be about 18,000 to 20,000 people there at the beginning of the game. By the end of the game, the 4,000 or 5,000 drunks who were left had congregated behind our bench to tell us how bad we were. Like we didn't know it. And so I'm sitting on the bench not playing going, what in the world is going to happen with this? If I can't play on the worst team in the league, where am I going to go? So there's those ups and that came back the next year. Jim Kelly got signed, ended up catching his first pass in the NFL and caught a touchdown pass later, and ended up starting for about 4 years through that. And then they brought a younger guy in, and we want to get younger and faster and more athletic and stuff. And so I ended up getting benched again, kind of for a couple of years in the middle of all thing. And then I kept working and kept plodding away and just showing up to work. And shortly after that, I ended up starting for 2 more years. I led the team in receptions in a year that we went to the Super Bowl. Luckily, Andre Reed pulled his hamstring, so we stopped throwing the ball to him, and they threw it to me every once in a while. But just the ups and downs. Then I got done, you know, my, whatever, that's a 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th year in the league. I got done playing in Buffalo. My contract was up, and essentially they didn't want to re-sign me. They kind of made a token, you know, why don't you go out and get an offer? So I ended up going down to Carolina for the Panthers and signed a 3-year contract down there. Great, we could move to the south. I didn't want to live in Buffalo my whole life. That's just, you know, I don't, for any of you who have ever been there, that would not be a shocker. So I wanted to get out of Buffalo. There's a lot of people all around the country from Buffalo, and that's why they're all around the country, because they're from Buffalo. I run into them all the time. So down to Carolina, hey, I get a chance. I'm going to play for 3 years and then retire down here. Well, that worked for 1 year. I played the first year, the Panthers' first year, and then I got cut after that. And here I got a call. It was just a call on the phone again. Hey, Pete, we're going a different direction. It's like, are you cutting me? Yeah, we're cutting you. Oh, okay. And that's the first time in my life I'd ever been cut from anything. And it's kind of, you hit rock bottom and go, what in the world am I going to do now? Where am I going to go? How am I, what's in store for me? And then I got a chance to go up and play in Detroit, which is my hometown team. It was really kind of fun. My family got to come over to the game. My wife and Barb's family got to come over. So we had a blast playing up in Detroit a little bit. You know, the only bad part was we were separated. Barb and the boys were still down in Charlotte. They'd come up for games. We'd go back and forth and stuff, and it was a little chaotic, but we got through it, and I got to walk away after 16 years. I said, hey, I've had enough. I'm going to step away from this thing and walk away. Then I did that, and then it was kind of like, football is a very structured, you know, it's kind of messing with the players right now, but you know, the off-season workouts, you get the mini camps, you get the regular workouts, going to training camp. You know, you're routine, you're very routine oriented. Everything is do, you know, one right after another. And so all of a sudden now, out of football, you kind of go, what in the world am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What's in store for me? And I didn't really have a plan in place. And I started kind of wandering around pursuing this. I started a youth group at our church and worked with that and got that kind of up and running and going, and then was coaching also at a high school, and kind of fell in love with coaching and started pursuing that and say, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it took me 4 or 5 years to get an opportunity to get into the NFL, and you know, I was very blessed to have that opportunity. You know, but it was a hard transition to go from the structure and control of everything to go, what are you going to do now? When I hadn't planned, and I should have planned. I should have had a plan in place and said, you know, I want to coach. I had some coaches tell me, you'll be a great coach, and I'm not going to coach. And here I am, you know, 11, 12, whatever years later, coaching and enjoying the heck out of it. And you know, got here, got to Indianapolis, and been blessed to really be here. I had one of my greatest, probably my greatest football memory is winning the stinking Super Bowl, finally winning a Super Bowl after losing 4 of them, and now I lost the 5th one that we lost here in Indy. But to win the Super Bowl against the Bears, I remember, I think it was 29-17 or whatever it was. I think that's what it was, with about 6 minutes to go in the game, and we're running the clock and getting first downs and stuff. And I looked across and saw the score and the clock, and it was like, just a thought went to my head. It was like, oh my gosh, we're going to win this thing. And then it was like, don't even think about it. Don't even, you know, and then I'm not even going to, you know, let's focus on the game and make sure we get through the game. And finally won the game, and they escorted us right down out on the field and ran down on the field. And my 2 sons, who were, let's see, when was that? What year was that when we won the Super Bowl? 2006, so 5 years ago. So they were 23 and, you know, 18 or so. The 2 of them come down to the top of the stands, and they jump down onto the field, and the 3 of us are down on the field, and Barb's standing up at the top of the stands, dripping wet because it rained the whole stinking game. And the 3 of us turned around, and it was like, yes, we finally won this thing. And that is the greatest feeling that I've ever had in a football game, to share it with my boys and share it with Barb after all those years of struggling, fighting. You know, as a matter of fact, my son, I think it was in our 4th Super Bowl loss in Buffalo, the 3rd one, you're telling the 3rd one? Our 3rd Super Bowl loss in Buffalo, he and a good buddy of his got in a fist fight up in the stands over whose dad's fault it was that we were losing this game again. It's your dad's fault. No, it's your dad's fault. No, it's not my dad's fault. It's your dad's fault. So, man, I'm running out of time here. Let me share quickly some thoughts, other thoughts I had. You know, through all that stuff, that transition, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I just got to a place where I said, this is what I'm going to do, and this is my passion, this is my desire, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen for me. There's a movie that I love. It's an old movie. It's called Dad. And one of the lines in that movie is, it's amazing what can happen in America when you show up for work every day. And I tried to live that out in my football career and now in my coaching career. But when you show up to work every day and work hard and do everything you can, it's amazing where you can get to and what you can achieve. Another line that came from a movie, and the movie The Fighter. Have you guys all seen that movie, The Fighter, just recently, about Mickey Ward and his story and stuff? There's an article in Sports Illustrated. I got the Sports Illustrated, had a thing about the movie, and I was like, I don't want to read a story about some fight movie. And then I went to see the movie, and I was like, man, I want to read this article about the whole movie and how it got put together. But there's a sign on the wall in that gym in Lowell, Massachusetts, and the sign says, the person who really wants to do something finds a way. Others find an excuse. I put that up in my offensive line room last year after getting that. Person who really wants to do something finds a way. Others find an excuse. So if there's something you want to do, I think unfortunately, we've gotten into a society now where there's expectations that I deserve this or I deserve that, or I should get this. And why? Because I live in America? Well, you don't deserve anything other than just the opportunity to go pursue whatever it is you're passionate about and what you want to go achieve. That's what you get. That's the opportunity you have. And whatever that desire is, that opportunity, whatever that thing is that you want to achieve, go after it with your whole heart. And if you want to get it done, you'll find a way to get it done. There won't be an excuse. There's no reason not to. Go get it. Go after it. Go achieve it. Go pursue it. That's what I did in my NFL career. That's why I was able to hang around for 16 years and keep doing that thing. That's why I was able to play 235 games, because I kept showing up to work and kept playing. Anthony Gonzalez is getting close to my record. I hope he either retires or gets hurt real soon so that he doesn't break my record. I'd rather he retire than get hurt, because I don't want to wish anybody to get hurt. But go after it. Pursue it. But in your successes, don't forget to give to other people in your lives. I heard a talk one time about success versus significance. A lot of people can be successful with their jobs, and you get this and get that, and all the measures of success with your titles or whatever it may be. But significance is defined as having an impact on someone else's life. And I know you Wabash men do a great job of it. I read about it in the papers and in the magazines that come out of Wabash about guys going out on this trip here and this trip there and serving here and serving there, serving the community here, going across the country serving. That's being significant in people's lives, because you're impacting their lives for eternity. And so don't get completely bogged down in chasing your successes. Continue to be significant in other people's lives as you live out your life. And finally, the foundation of all that for me, to get through all this stuff, there's a story that Jesus talks about in Matthew chapter 7 about the wise and the foolish builder. The foolish builder builds his house and the foundation on the shifting sands. And when the storms of life come, the house collapses. The foundation is washed away and the house collapses. The wise man is the person who builds his house on a solid foundation. That when the storms of life come, the winds roar and the waves crash, but the house stands solid because it's built on a foundation. And for me, to go through all the ups and downs of life in the NFL and so on and so forth, that foundation has been a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's driven me to, number one, achieve and to be able to know that God is in control of my life, and I can relax, and I don't have to fight and battle and scratch and claw to try and do things all in my own strength, my own power, that I can trust God's plan and what he's got in store for me. But it's also driven me to help and try and become, as much as I can, significant in other people's lives, because it's not all about me. It's about everyone else that you run in, have the ability to get in touch with and to touch in your lives. So gentlemen, thank you. Best of luck for you seniors who are graduating. Congratulations. And for everyone else, continue to chase after your dreams and be significant in people's lives. Thank you all.
Some announcements. Baseball team plays tonight in the first round of their tournament against Ohio Wesleyan, so good luck to them. This Saturday is Comcast Cares Day. They're looking for the Dean of Students asked me to make this announcement. They're looking for volunteers to help out the Boys and Girls Club in Crawfordsville from 8 to noon, so if you are free on Saturday, please go out and help out the Boys and Girls Club in Crawfordsville. Friday, in case you didn't know, is the last day of classes this semester. Yep. Wabash lacrosse plays DePaul on Friday, so go out and support them. Saturday, tennis is at Oberlin for their conference tournament. Golf is at Hiram for round 2 of our conference tournament. Track is at Allegheny, I believe, for also their conference tournament. On behalf of the Sphinx Club, I would like to thank everyone for another great semester of Chapel Talks. Please stand and sing Old Wabash.